Now, I want to talk about an actually genuinely good game that I'm excited for all of these, but I'm really excited for this one. We have Ohio at San Diego State. San Diego State is a recent 2.5-point favorite, and we'll get into why that may be soon, with an over-under of 49. Game kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern on FS1 from Snapdragon Stadium. So new that you can't even find it on the Google Maps overhead. I think they still have Qualcomm standing there, which is certainly not still on that plot of land anymore. Quick shout out, by the way, to the Ohio Bobcats equipment team that loaded up a truck on Monday to drive the 2,300-mile trek to San Diego. That is a true cross-country road trip. I'm actually kind of excited for them. Even though you're hauling a massive tractor trailer, it's got to be pretty cool to see the entire country in one fell swoop like that. But you can't ignore the disadvantage that Ohio's at for that super long travel. San Diego, destination city, I get it, but that's still a very, very long trip for them. Fortunately, the kick is at a reasonable time, so we're not dealing with any internal clock stuff. That is something I look for, particularly when teams in the West go east and they may play at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We have seen that. The reason this game is at 2.5 and not the 3.5, 4, 4.5 that it's been at all the way, I think, up to 5. Curtis Rourke, prolific quarterback for Ohio, he will play. That news just broke on Monday. He tore his ACL in late November, but he will play in this game. That tells me that he is close to or at 100%. And hey, I'll take a 90% Curtis Rourke over a lot of quarterbacks in the country, including the one on San Diego State sideline. I actually bet Ohio +4 in July. I was following some of the tea leaves that Rourke may be good to go. There's a lot of optimism in his recovery. Compare that to the Cam Rising stuff that's been coming out where they have not been optimistic all off season long. So I did bet Ohio +4. Pretty happy about that. That number's not coming back. Sorry, that is not actionable information at this point. Again, if you're in a Discord server, you could have gotten that number back in July when I originally bet it. From the San Diego State side, can this new offensive coordinator, Ryan Lindley, he's actually their leading passer in program history. He's back as the offensive coordinator. Can he get things going the right direction? Shouldn't be that hard to get to. They played the 8th slowest pace to play last year, and they've been 100th or worse in seconds per play every year since at least 2015. That's when the statistics stopped going back that I could find. They're also 102nd in go rate in neutral situations on fourth down, just 18.4%. I think fixing those two things could really go a long way because San Diego State, pretty talented team. It's not hard to get talent there. Their quarterback, I think, is decent, and that I think they can fix the offense if they were to just pick up some of these, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit quicker. But I trust Ohio's offensive line a lot more than San Diego State's defensive line in this game as well. So I feel pretty good about Ohio at this juncture.
My Ohio Bobcats, Brett. Of course, doing my graduate school in Athens, Ohio, I always have an eye on the Bobcats and how they're doing. You said it. This is a legitimately good game in Week 0 that I'm excited about as well. This is an intriguing game for Ohio, and they're coming off a season in which they were my number 4 biggest overachievers in the FBS, winning 3.8 regular season games more than I expected last year. I mean, they overachieved last year. Getting Rourke back at quarterback here for start of Week 0 is huge. I'm excited about this team. My numbers are pretty close to Vegas once again in this one. I have San Diego State by 4 points in this one, so I know that's what you got the line at in the summer. That's what my numbers make it right now. These teams match up pretty well, Brett, if you look at it. So I got San Diego State power rated number 82, while Ohio is power rated number 89. So not a whole lot separating them two there. I have San Diego State's defense at 52, Ohio's offense at 71. Ohio's defense at 117, San Diego State's offense at 110. So again, these matchups are very close. San Diego State has the slight edge in both of them, plus then the home field advantage. We're talking about what Sagarin's doing earlier. That's how I arrive at a 61% win expectancy for the Aztecs in this game. But I would not be surprised at all if Ohio finds a way to not just be competitive and be there at the end, but to actually end up winning this game. San Diego State, if we look ahead, neither one is in a look ahead. They both got an FCS opponent in Week 2. But San Diego State, to me, I think they really need to get this game if they're going to achieve some of the things that they want, if they're going to be a contender in the Mountain West Conference this year. Ohio, on the other hand, they're a favorite in the East. This is a non-conference game. I'm not sure it has the same meaning to them. So I think San Diego State feels like they need this one more. And again, this is like talking playoffs in the NFL in Week 2 or whatever. Like I'm not trying to put a ton of pressure in a Week 0 game, but you only get 12. Like, there's only 12 games. This one counts as much as any of the others. That's why I don't want to overemphasize, but I do want to stress the importance of some of these games and what they mean to some of these teams in terms of trying to achieve what I think these teams have as goals for themselves by the end of the year.
I think the market showed its hand in terms of Curtis Rourke and what he is to a point spread. It's telling me 2.5 points. Now, you talked about your numbers at this point, rating them where they do with Ohio and San Diego State. Did they change at all in reaction to the Curtis Rourke news, or is that something you have to manually adjust?
Yeah, I was counting Rourke in the whole time. From the very beginning, I had him in. It's if he's out, I would have made an adjustment, and we would have seen a further differentiation. So I actually have it as 4 with the Rourke news. So I do my injuries and player availabilities a little bit different maybe than some people out there. I do it in a way that is most convenient for me and that takes the least amount of time while still capturing all of the relevant pieces. And again, some pieces aren't quite as relevant or important as others. A quarterback is very relevant, and so that's one that you're always going to keep an eye on. But I had assumed he would be in, and I'm assuming full production from what we've seen in the past. That's probably not actually the case. Maybe it is. Maybe he is fully recovered and he's going to be ready to go and all that. Anytime you're coming off of an injury, a significant injury though, and it's your first time back, I think we can expect maybe a little bit of rust or something like that. I'm expecting the full Rourke that we've seen before. His brother was actually the quarterback when I was there for one of my years in grad school, so very familiar with that family and what they got going on as I worked in the athletic department during my time in Athens. So I have that accounted for. It's going to be a good game, though. I'm excited about this one.
I think Nathan works up in the CFL right now.
I think he is, too.
Good for him. What a good family. So if you're going off of Kelly's numbers, there is value right now, especially since you got under that 3 key figure. But if I'm looking to back San Diego State on spread here, I'm not betting it right now. I'm waiting until that number gets as low as possible because if you can get the 2, it's not a key figure, but it does help your case a little bit. So